accidentally reversed my sleep schedule. I've been doing that. I do that sometimes. Well, I've been doing that since I was 15 years old. But my medicine just kicked in. And there's a lot of people don't understand the disorder that I have. It's not schizophrenia. It's bipolar disorder. But I can get into thinking some thoughts very temporarily and then go away. So that's kind of the difference. In short, if the thoughts seem unusual. Like I was thinking, I'm thinking the only reason why I'm still alive and haven't been sniped by the CIA or something like that is because of my ideas, my ingenuity, some of the abilities that I have that I don't use. I don't exercise, I don't practice because I can build them up if I want to. But sometimes they come on me like that and there's nothing I can do about it. Like sometimes I have dreams that come true and I have a hypothesis as to why some of them come true and some of them don't. And I think that's because of the nature of space-time. Any possibility can come true, and I think I've been experiencing different realities. And there is this idea that some people that have schizophrenia or maybe bipolar disorder are people, so I'm not saying the disorders aren't real, but if you have a chemical imbalance, a part of that disorder, there is a hypothesis or research that may show your brain truly does enter into another state of consciousness where you are experiencing other dimensions that are real. But the fact that you can't separate that from our current reality still means you have a disorder. Does that make sense? Like if you see little blue men or little green men running up a wall, it doesn't mean that it's happening in this reality. It may be happening in another reality. But while you live here, it's not acceptable to society to say that it's happening right in front of you, or that there are people laughing in front of you, or that there are music. It may be real. It may be happening in another reality. But to think that somebody's coming after you, somebody's going to, kill you, or people are handing you messages or putting messages in your brain, or you're holding something that's a message. I mean, when it's not, I think it would depend on the kind of delusion. So you've got a chemical imbalance, right? And it could still cause you to have, you can look at it like a psychedelic trip. Technically, I don't want to confuse anybody out there that may have a disorder, but technically, according to, from what I understand, and from what research seems to suggest, anything we conceive about reality is real. It's already real. Even if it's just in your head, it's still a real part of reality. Just not in the way that we think it is. So being able to separate this physical plane from whatever, whether it just be misfiring in your brain because of neurotransmitters going wrong, your connections all messed up between synapses, brain malformation, whatever. Whether it be like a misfiring, like a disconnect, in a way that prevents something from working right. So like if you're drunk, right, and then you try to touch the tea bag and you go like this, right? What's not real is that the tea bag is here. It's actually here. But technically, it's also here. It's also everywhere in the cosmos. But to be grounded in this physical reality, where we exist on this plane, it would still be a disorder, a form of disorder, or incorrect to state that it is anywhere else but here, or to experience it outside of that plane that we exist on. So, a part of my disorder isn't often something I want to admit. And it's not about pride or ego. It's about something I should talk to my therapist more about. I have to accept the disorder that I have. I have to accept it and understand it for what it is. Now, it doesn't mean that I can't earn a degree to create cold fusion technology and to improve on different reactors and to aid in the future by providing some small contribution towards physics in a way that would help us time travel or improve on ourselves as a species. But the reality is, I don't have that degree. And when I don't take my medicine, or before it kicks in, I'll give you an example. I don't think I'm wrong, but they're called thought experiments, hypotheses. And some of it may fall in line with theory, even. But it gets kind of depressing because I haven't completed those tasks, But I see things that people like Einstein and Tesla saw. And it's lonely because I don't have the tools to develop the technology and to experiment. I mean, I might have some around my home, but I don't have enough. I can begin by continuing on with my education, even if I'm not in school. And I've been fighting these systems that are unfair. And I've dealt with a lot of psychological trauma because of it. And my therapist calls it systems trauma. You can't talk about anything that the government or that corporations do to abuse you without getting demonetized here, or without being suppressed, because YouTube, they will suppress you. They will demonetize your account if the president or somebody in Congress or somebody that's a billionaire or a millionaire that funds them, or that they work with, or that they contract with, taps them on the shoulder and says, I don't like that person, make sure that nobody hears them. It isn't just me saying that, it's myself and other people that have watched them doing it and they won't stop doing it. But those of you out there that have a lot of followers, it's because you're not atypical people. You're better socially. You've managed to build up your channel first by, creating interesting content, with good backgrounds, or and animations, and video clips on the side, whatever, like you're actually creating content designed for like professional kind of content, and the reality is, I'm just going to say it like I see it, women sell, okay, and YouTube knows it. So if you're a beautiful woman, okay, guys are not naturally just beautiful beings, I mean, not in my opinion, maybe that's just because I'm a guy, but in cultures and society, more often than not, you've got even women that think women are beautiful or pretty, or you've got a higher occurrence of physical appeal towards women between both women and men, as opposed to just men, where the only appeal would be by women, and even then, psychologically, women seem to be more interested in the moment, what they got going on, I think. So, and I think women, know they're beautiful, and psychologically, I think they have more of a, instinctually, I call it peacocking, and in nature, they show off more, like if you look at every female in species, the females have the prettier colors, right? They're made to draw attention for the males. But sometimes you've got the opposite, like in some birds or whatever, it might be the male, where the male shows off the pretty colors or whatever. But bottom line, for humans, that's the female. It's the female that has more of the attributes that align with what would be beautiful to the human brain, symmetrically, wise, etc., etc. And and that's not sexist, that's backed by science. And if you think I'm wrong or there's something missing, or if you think, I'm speaking out of turn or out of line in any way, leave a comment below. But that's not my intent. If I need to be educated, let me know. And I don't believe I'm correct. Incorrect. Freudian slip. But, so anyway. I'm saying, I get suppressed. So when it happened easier for me and people like me, and YouTube is able to take advantage of that because I think they feel like they have an excuse. Well, this guy doesn't have much content. Yeah, I do. I have a lot. I have enough. I have enough for a channel. It's just being suppressed. So when I feel bad inside because I am made to feel insignificant by YouTube because they've chosen to attack me as a creator through suppression, intentionally, algorithmically, by isolating me from the public space on purpose, it makes me feel bad, and I don't want to put myself out there because it's like giving people a part of yourself or putting yourself out there only to be humiliated, and it creates this loop where you keep talking about this problem and it just causes more humiliation, and it makes you feel singled out, it makes you feel like an outcast. So I'll probably come in and out, I'll probably put my content out there, and I'll probably keep on bringing up the issue until the issue becomes important to YouTube, and I'm going to take the issue to Congress if that's what I've got to do, because it isn't just YouTube, it's Twitter. And I've paid attention to other people. I've watched other people be abused, not just me. So the topic actually matters a lot to me because it's something that social media do and corporations do, and it's a pattern. It's not about just social media. What bothers me is it's about corporations taking handouts, whether it be approval or financial handouts, to exclude citizens, to abuse them, and to use them as products, and it's not okay. Now, we pay you, YouTube. That's what you have to understand. Without us, you don't have a product. Without viewers, you don't have a product. Without creators, you don't have a product. And your reputation matters. You should support us all equally if you want your revenue to keep going, but you're thinking we don't care. We're backed by Google. Not if we short squeeze you. Not if we get tired of having boots on our neck. And if we short squeeze all the hedge funds that know the pop of the bubble is coming, and they've got to short their own holdings to profit. Didn't see that one coming, did you? Thinking like that. Why would anyone short squeeze Google? Or why would Google short their... Why would your investors short you? Because it makes you money. It makes you money. They're still investing in you. I may not have my portfolio built up yet, but I'm not dumb money. Not anymore. Maybe broke as shit, but I'm not dumb money. I'm just not in the money yet. Not yet. And I don't care if I ever get there. I'm just going to enjoy my life because I'm realizing that life is just too fucking short. I'm going to try to, but it's depressing, and I've realized that life is all about money, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And if you've got half a soul in your chest, and you don't end up in a life where money is everything to you, you end up realizing and feeling in your body that time is short. Like, my body's falling apart, I've got labrum tears in both shoulders. And because I do have a disorder, I ended up thinking, and it was just a hypothesis, so there's a difference between that and schizophrenia, right? So I took a scientific hypothesis that could be verified mathematically. I'm giving you the short story, and empirically. And I skipped to a conclusion that it must mean that aliens healed my shoulder, that I got what I asked for. Just because I also haven't been sick since 2017 or 2018, I must have gotten everything that I asked for, and without any kind of evidence. It's just a dream, there's no proof I've ever been abducted. And I will quickly lose muscle mass, not even, my metabolism's super fast. But for whatever reason, I gain muscle mass really fast, but I'm only able to gain so much. But then I lose it really fast. So I had some traps going on here, and now they're just gone. and I have to stop doing that exercise with my weights. So I'll take my weights, and I will do this with my shoulders to build my traps up. And I'll lay on my back, and I'll push my weights up like this. Because I can no longer do push-ups. I can do them, but I risk the chance of ripping the shoulder. This one has the tear in it that's the worst. And I thought it was healed for the longest time. But I went too hard with my weights, and I punched my bed really hard multiple times because I was mad at you, YouTube, for suppressing me and for falsely accusing me. I said I had been harassed, and I felt like that you were also participating. And then to antagonize me, you put a warning on my account of cyber harassment without any evidence, and falsely claimed that you had deleted a video or content. And you said that you were going to give me the chance to appeal it, or that I could take a 7-question training course. And you lied, because you deleted the content, but you also put under there that I could appeal it. And it wasn't or, it was and. So at any time I want, I could still take that training course, but what you want me to do is you want me to confess to something without evidence. And if you don't respond to my appeal, that the staff member I spoke with, who couldn't get her way with me, couldn't deny anything I was saying was incorrect, because I'm not incorrect. I laid out the evidence. Don't think she liked it, or maybe one of her superiors said, there's really no point in arguing with this guy. Cut off the conversation, so that's what she did. And she said, I forwarded your appeal. I don't know if it was like a 48-hour response or whatever she had said or something like that. Or we'll wait 48 hours or whatever. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at it. Or if that was even there, I don't know. But I'm going to digress here in a minute because I was talking about my condition, you know. But it's all part of the same topic. You make people feel uncomfortable, YouTube. You even, and I can prove it to you. I can prove to you right here and right now that it isn't just me, that there's nothing wrong with my content, and that most creators are aware of it. Are you ready for this? Are you ready? A lot of them are out there saying YouTube might demonetize me. YouTube might strike my account. YouTube might get after me. We're all aware of it. You're just abusive. Just like X Corporation. I have a problem with X Corporation. X Corporation has a problem with me. Do you know why that is? Of course you do. You've been informed. You've been well informed. Because you have a tight circle with those people. With all those technocrats, oligarchs, everybody. You all sit around, have lunch together. You've broken the law. So has X Corporation. I don't need to prove it. I've already done it. And someday you're going to be sued for it if you don't clean up your act. But X Corporation is in a situation where they can actually be indicted and criminally charged. And you only halfway cleaned up my analytics. I've got multiple videos and screenshots showing unusual behavior by your API and analytics. I myself, as a technician, if I wanted to do more work, I can start a full-scale investigation against you by the next administration, YouTube. They would crash your holdings. Enough to count, enough for me to smile, enough for me to make money. But it would be Google, right? Google would be in court. I mean, here's my point. If I want to devote all of my energy and waste all my fucking life between you and I and the fence post, right? You know I'm a disabled American that can't afford an attorney, and you fully intend on taking advantage of that, just like Elon Musk. But here's the thing. With any courtroom, I could file as a pauper and go to court for free. And a judge, they can try to deny it. But if I stand for myself in the right way, that judge is going to look pretty bad and could end up under disciplinary review before a panel, even if I request it. And chances are a judge wouldn't deny it, is what I'm saying. But if I make another mistake like I had made before, which is not being present and submitting the evidence in person like I should have done when I filed a stalking protective order against Elon Musk, I probably would have had an argument. I would have at least gotten Elon Musk in a courtroom, and he would have been taught a lesson, even if he would have won the case by having it dropped. He would have backed off, and that was my mistake, and I won't make it again. So if I have a problem with you, if I continue to have a problem with you and I'm gaining my energy back. I spent too much energy beating a dead horse. If I can't get my data from X Corporation, your pal Elon Musk is going to have a big problem. And I won't be done with him. And if that happens, he's taking you down with him. Because I won't stop at him. He is using you. And what he does is he puts other people in his pocket when he's in trouble. He goes to them, tells them a story, and then asks them for help. And then he puts those other people at risk. He's done it to the FBI. He's done it to the NSA. He's done it to the DOD. He's done it to DISA. All over me. That's right. I just said that. He's had the DOD call the police. And the NSA, or at least he put me in that kind of situation where he has manipulated everybody and where he has caused so much trouble on his platform, where he has created such a disturbance instead of being responsible with himself, his staff, and as a CEO, he's acted like a man-child to where these problems wouldn't exist. Whatever he's decided to do on his platform. Whenever I was first hacked, I was on his platform. He didn't need to create the problems that he created. And whatever was being directed towards me, it was selective. Especially as a disabled person, you can consider it discriminatory. There's an argument that Mr. Musk and the government may try to make, and I would shut it down like that in a courtroom. So I don't care if they try to take me to court for anything, because I have an ace or fucking 10 up my sleeve. And they know it. The FBI knows it. Their internal affairs sat quiet with me on the phone for a reason. As I sat and told them everything I knew they were guilty of. Or at least the FBI. And what they were hoping for is that I would incriminate myself in some way by being mean or inappropriate. And I didn't do that. I calmly explained how I've been violated by them because of their negligence. Watching X Corporation do certain things. After they knowingly messed up. They knew the situation existed that was harmful towards a disabled American, because they even pretended to help out or care, right? By sending the police to my actual front door to help me in a time of distress. After I had a knife to my throat because of the stalking and the harassment. And now you're singling me out as a platform as well. But I'm treated now on a different medicine that reduces agitation, reduces anger, and I take a combined larger dose of another medicine all at once to slow down my thinking, to help me process my thoughts, and to prevent going into a psychotic episode. I was exploited as an individual intentionally by X Corporation, Elon Musk, and by U.S. intelligence and U.S. law enforcement. And I caught them doing it and I proved it. So they're avoiding me like the plague. And they still try to intimidate me. There's a drive up there. Where in a courtroom it would pan out like this. Okay, Mr. Johnson, either your neighbor is under investigation for operating a Tor node and hacking you, which isn't true. They would have to hack Xfinity. Or they would have to accuse me of knowing how to mount my persistence not just over my network, but because I saw that configuration file. I learned some new things, but along with that configuration file, there was a file like Bootstrap. That was made so that when Tails booted, that configuration file took priority to mount my persistence over Tor through bridge configuration that I didn't understand how to interpret that was written in Bash script. So no, there's a way to determine. It would be quite exhaustive, but there is a way to determine in a court of law if I know how to do that, but the burden of proof would be on me. So I would have to prove that I don't know how to do that. Or didn't look it up. And I am most likely clever enough to say that to prove that the evidence isn't there. And that's why the drive is preserved as is. I've had plenty of time to sit down and figure some things out. I'm just going to put it that way. That means in a courtroom. I'm dangerous for anybody who tries to call me wrong. So they can neither confirm nor deny. And that would be their excuse. And then the judge would say, all right, I'm going to attempt to illegally defer to executive authority by good faith. Now, it's not technically illegal because a judge can make a judgment, right? A judge can say, well, I believe you're acting on good faith, but because of my due process, because of my Fifth Amendment, and my 14th Amendment. And I'm going to have to study the Constitution more and my civil rights, but I am allowed to challenge that. There's something called an in-camera review. If I have reason to believe that these people have acted in bad faith, if I can show there's a reason to have this be looked into. Because it would be unusual for me to do these certain things. I could even make an argument for the judge. I'd be under oath, Your Honor. I'd be lying. I'd want that tested by the law in a courtroom. I'd want a judge to review in camera whether or not these people had sufficient probable cause, and they would say, oh, well, if it's for national security, we don't need probable cause, or we don't need, well, they would need probable cause, but it's called a warrantless defensive search if they, and it's still a violation of the Fourth Amendment, and they're only supposed to do this. Anyway, not for Americans. I would have to be collaborating. Okay. With a foreign or domestic terrorist. So the NSA is in trouble. If I feel like I want to take them to court for that. And that's why they've made efforts to intimidate me, or the Department of Defense, to try to create a narrative, to try to pick up the phone and call the police, to have the police ask me questions, to do a welfare check on me, a welfare check, to try to make sure that in whatever state I was going through, that I would not harm myself or others, that I had no plans of. So from what I recall, I think I was specifically asked that question. I don't think I was until I think I had asked the purpose for the call. I think the police had called to see if I was okay. I don't remember everything I said. So I reserve my right to not testify against myself. And I feel comfortable with saying, not because I think I am guilty of anything. Do you have anything to hide? No, I don't. No. I don't. And I was quite frank. And I even told the officer, I said, you can tell the DOD that I said to go fuck themselves. Because I felt like they were wasting my time or whatever. I was pissed off. I thought they were fucking playing games with me. And I told them, whatever I had said, I wanted the officer to know. Specifically, I said, please, kindly, with all due respect, go tell the DOD that I said they can go fuck themselves. Because I hadn't done anything wrong. And I made it very clear to that officer in so many words that I wasn't going to tolerate these kind of games, and that I felt like I understood what they were doing. I felt like I was being exploited, that they were using X Corporation to exploit me. They were watching X Corporation stalk me, harass me, right? And I, as a technician, can explain how X Corporation could end the situation and chose not to. I can explain how they were responsible for the situation, how they were creating the situation, how they were intentionally on a mission, a campaign to agitate me, to exploit my symptoms. Okay. To target me unreasonably, to treat me unfairly as a user. And this happened as a video chat, after a video chat with Elon Musk. He knows what he's guilty for. He knows what he's responsible for. I ended up in a video chat with him. I said something had happened to me. I had noticed I had been hacked. The conversation went a certain way. And he asked me, he says, well, what do you want? And there's a reason why I said $4 million. The situation had caused me so much disturbance that I lost $4,000 in federal aid. Because it messed up my situation with school. So I just multiply it by 1,000. And he said, I'll think about it. And then he just continued to play games with me. Over Telegram. And then I continued to get bots. Musk bots. There's a lot more to the situation. And what I'm frustrated with is that these people allow this to happen. They allow you, social media, to suppress when the interest suits them, to suppress our freedom of expression. Now, if you have nothing to worry about, you wouldn't be doing that. You would just let me talk. And Mr. Musk had plenty to worry about. And as it pertains to public interest, and you have been on the chopping block for this, YouTube, for suppressing people's voices as it pertains to public interest. And there is a specific definition for what classifies speech or of any kind as public interest. So I would specifically lay out, because I know that, how I can show or why my speech is of public interest. And anything that is of public interest would be something that would constitute information that should be readily available to the public, because of a significant public need to know for transparency, for sake of good faith in regard to the public, and transparency between the public and Congress. So if I'm reaching out to Congress over social media, if and for instance, there's a post here where I am trying to communicate to Congress and you have completely suppressed it, and that's illegal. That's a violation of public interest. Legally, like under statute, that's a violation of public interest, even if you have executive authority. It would be the president serving up an unlawful executive order. And trying to classify it as something like national security or whatever. No. And that's what these people have tried to do to me. They've tried to create a narrative. They've tried to create a flag. Well, let's create a situation like we've always done to people who we want to keep out of the public's eye when we want to cover something out. Let's create a narrative by calling the dude up, having the police call him, so that we can then write on a piece of paper, called individual due to concerns of whatever national security, etc., etc., etc. When it's a situation that you let your contractor create without holding them accountable instead, after I complained to you on file several times and over the phone. And when I complained to my senators, my representative, and I get no responses back. That's the Congress not doing their job to protect the people. And if you've done anything to stand in the way, U.S. government or U.S. Intel, of me trying to communicate with my Congress by holding certain emails, or by going to them and telling them certain narratives and calling it national security, you're just breaking the law. So, other case scenario for public interest, so you may think, no, I'm wrong, no, I'm not, would be public safety, a big one. So, the harassment and stalking got to the point to where it had caused me some significant issues. Wasn't a threat to anybody else. But you certainly saw me hold a knife to my throat on camera, didn't you? Yeah, you know that the police have seen a cut on my wrist. They've been witness. I cut my wrist because of the harassment, the stalking. That's why I'm on different medication now. So what is the true narrative? Oh, the U.S. intel is actually so caring and compassionate that they would actually call me up to see if I'm okay. Or is it just because you want to flag me and create a reason so that you have a reason to suppress me? So which is it, U.S. intel? Were you so highly negligent that you allowed me to be exploited? You allowed X Corporation to attack me so much until I was extremely provoked so that X Corporation got whatever reaction they wanted out of me to try to criminalize me. Is that it? You don't do that to a person. And you know you don't want to be in a courtroom with me because you know you would lose. So, but if I want to get you into a courtroom, I can. I can get Elon in a courtroom. I can get YouTube and Google in a courtroom. I can get NSA in a courtroom. If I want to waste all my fucking time, I can. So if I have any problems, if I continue to have any problems, if I get fed up, if I feel like I cannot reach out to society, if I feel like that you can't give me the chance to put some good content out there that is neutral, if you won't let me put this situation to bed within myself and then engage within the public in a positive way, I'm fucking coming for you in court. And you're going to have a whole lot of people like me that are going to be mad at the tech sector, and that's all you need to know. We're going to get our money if you're going to take it from us. Legally, of course. Meaning if you're just going to profit off of our backs, we're going to lose faith in you. And demand has power. So I was talking about my hurt shoulders, right? I was talking about my condition, whatever. What I was trying to say. It had something to do with making content. I said I was about ready to say, no, I said I was thinking that the only reason why I'm alive is, probably is because of my ideas, my ingenuity, my ability, the dreams I may have, the abilities I can evolve if I want to. But I was trying to emphasize the importance for myself, kind of like a mirror on camera, and others, to stay grounded a little bit. And I just wanted to explain to people that I don't have to explain to anybody, but I was just going to say that I feel suppressed, but I want to come here and try to make some content. And maybe I can just pursue some of my ideas and make content about it, I hope to make some content about trading, about science, and other interests without being attacked here. And I'm going to hold YouTube accountable to not attack me. Otherwise, I'm going to get you sued. Answer my appeal.